My name is Emily. I am 35 years old, and this is the story of the moment I almost walked away from the one man who never stopped loving me, even when I had forgotten how to see it. We had been married 10 years. When I met James, he had nothing. No house, no car, no savings. He showed up to our future with one small bag of clothes and a kind of steadiness I didn't know how to name yet, but I loved him. And in those early years, that love felt like more than enough. We lived in small apartments. We counted every dollar. There were nights I sat at the kitchen table after everyone else was asleep, overwhelmed by exhaustion and doubt, quietly wondering if anything was ever going to change. And every single time, James would come and sit beside me. He didn't have answers. He didn't have money. But he had something that I wouldn't truly understand until much later. He had presence. He would take my hand and say, "We will get through this together." And somehow, that was enough to get me through to morning. When I was sick, he stayed up all night. When I wanted to quit, he reminded me who I was. His mother, too. She was not always easy, but she was faithful. When I was drowning in work and study, she stepped in without being asked. She cooked, she cleaned, she took care of our son so I could keep going. In her quiet, practical way, she was holding this family together with both hands. I didn't see it that way. Then, years passed, life shifted. I got a good job, earning more than I had ever imagined. We bought a house. We bought a car. For the first time, I could breathe without counting. And I told myself, this was what I had worked for. This was what I deserved. But something in me changed, along with the circumstances. Where I once saw a man who showed up, I now saw a man who fell short. James still worked construction. Some months the work came. Some months it didn't. And slowly, without my noticing, respect began curdling into resentment. I started measuring him against a version of success he had never claimed to be. I said things I should never have said, words that landed in him like stones. He never raised his voice. He never disrespected me. Not once. He just absorbed it, quietly, the way he had always absorbed everything. And then one day, he left. I told myself I didn't need him. I had the house, I had the income, I had the stability. I had spent a decade building, but what I didn't have, what no amount of money could fill, was peace. The house felt enormous, in the wrong way. My son moved through the rooms, asking for his father. The nights were long and heavy and completely, terribly quiet. Then one evening, I broke down, entirely. I was sitting on the kitchen floor, the same kitchen I had dreamed about owning, and I had nothing left. No composure, no certainty, just exhaustion, stripped down to the bone. That night, James came back. Not to fight, not to demand anything. He came with groceries. He moved through the house, fixing small things that had been broken for weeks. He sat beside our son at the table, patient and unhurried, helping with homework. And before he left, he stopped at the door and looked at me with an expression I will never forget. "I know I am not perfect," he said, "but I still care about you, about us." The next day, his mother came. She didn't argue. She didn't blame. She simply sat across from me, took my hand, the way she had taken it years ago, when I was falling apart, and said, "He loves you more than he knows how to show." Something broke open in me at that, because in that moment, I finally saw what I had been too proud and too distracted to see for years. This man, who the world might call ordinary, had shown up for me, for our son, for this family, again and again and again. Not with grand gestures, not with wealth, with care, with patience, with a love so quiet and so consistent that I had mistaken it for small. That night I sat alone, with every memory I had been keeping at a distance, and the truth came slowly, the way the most important truths always do. I hadn't been searching for a better husband. I had been searching for a perfect life. And in that search, in that relentless reaching for something more, I had nearly destroyed something real. When James came again, I didn't look away. I looked at him, really looked, for the first time in years, and I saw the man I had fallen in love with in a small apartment when we had nothing, and it still felt like everything. "I don't want to lose us," I said. He didn't make a speech. He didn't ask for an apology. He just smiled. That same quiet, unshakable smile that had always been there, waiting. The same smile that had sat beside me at midnight when I was breaking. The same smile that had said, "Together," and truly meant it. Some love is loud. It announces itself. It arrives with certainty and momentum, and makes sure you know it is there. But some love is quiet. It stays. When staying is hard, it forgives before you ask. It shows up at your door with groceries and a gentle word when you have given it every reason to walk away and never return. The person you convinced yourself wasn't enough is often the one person you cannot imagine living without. I almost learned that too late. I am grateful I learned it at all. If this story touched your heart, please like it and share it with someone you love. You never know. You might be the reason someone changes their life forever. And subscribe for more stories like this.